there's a lot of our audience that are in their 20s that are looking to want to grow their careers. What advice would you give to your younger self back in your 20s, or people like us? What routine, structures, advice, lessons would you share?
I think these days the demographic is very different than when I started. Everyone wants to do fast track everything. You can't. There's no fast tracking getting experience. So, like I hear it every day. Like we secure so many listings over other agents because they've had an offside. A young guy call a house in Bronte saying, "I've got a buyer for 10 million. Can I show them through?" Oh shit, you got a buyer, show them through. And then they call Alex going, "Mate, can you just come around and tell me what my house is worth? This guy's got a buy at 10. I say, "Well, it's probably bullshit. And no, your house is worth 8 and you need to tidy it up and you need to do this." And okay, thanks, Alex, here's a business. So these young guys are doing the wrong prospecting because they're opening up the door to everyone else. So if I was starting out again, I was starting in your office or buyer's agent, I'd be getting with a really good agent saying, okay, well, what do I need to do? How do I get better at my craft? The first thing you got to do is have the best product knowledge. Like you can't cold call this house tomorrow and go, "Oh, it sold for 11.8." And the neighbour goes, "Well, what did next door go for a year ago?" Fuck, you don't know because you've only just started. So again, you're off the back foot. So firstly, you got to get the best product knowledge. You got to get the best product knowledge of what you're selling in your office, what other agents are doing, and the ins and outs of the demographic. Then go, okay, can I get a call list of a house that sold similarly, and just start doing buyer work. And then that person goes, "Oh no, I need to sell first." Okay, great. Well, can we come out? Or not the prospecting that I see that still happens today that just does nothing. Like you're not offering anything, other than a lot of fluff. Where the good thing is when you're like starting out and you're calling, home pass, which is what we use, or old books, is if you're saying, "Oh, you're still in the market, we've got this." "Oh, great, what do you have?" Like you're actually offering something that they will take the call as well. Like you got to be, people are so time poor and savvy. They don't want the sales pitch. They want to know, okay, you're in, yep, I'm out, and up, see you later. This is what we've got. Where do you live now? Are you ready to buy? Can we help you with finance? You need a buyer's agent, whatever it is. Like that is where you will, as a young person, build a good foundation of people following you. For anyone starting out, there's a couple of things you got to remember. Is one, there's no short, quick path to becoming an agent, and you've got to work with a great environment and with someone that is going to give you like all the best traits of a real estate agent. I was lucky enough that I worked for Pauline for 3 years as an assistant. So, I did hard yards of that. Then we went and she started her own business. I was assistant with her, then became an agent, then a partner of business, and, sort of went from there. So, a lot of it came down to doing all the right things, from day one. Like as an example, I sold a house yesterday in Bronte for just over 7 million. And I look back in my database, I met them 18 years ago.
18?
Yeah, and it was uncontested. But they get calls from agents every week, and they're like, "No, we're using Alex. We showed one buyer through and sold it." But, that's because back then when I first started, as an agent in Bronte, where we are sitting here today, that I cold called through CoreLogic the suburb probably about 8 times, the entire suburb. So then I actually built up a database from there, but then I actually made sure I nurtured that database, and that first phone call was a cold call, then the rest of it was warm calls like those guys I sold for. Like it's, it was reaping rewards of what we did 20 years ago, but what we did 20 years ago we still do today as well.